Mic check 1 2, it's the Y2K collector, and it looks like I'm going to be making my return to the PlayStation 4. Many of you who follow the channel, you know that over the last year or so, I've pretty much felt like the PlayStation 4 wasn't worth collecting for me. It just wasn't a console that made sense for me to collect for, just because of all the other things that I was focused on. I've been heavily focused on retro, which for me is pretty much anything Gen 7 and older. Really, between Gen 4 and Gen 7 is where my eyes have been for pretty much the last year and the majority of this year. So I have not done any real Switch collecting. I probably have bought 2 Switch games this year, one of which was Slave Zero X. The only other Switch game that I'm interested, or Switch games I'm interested in picking up, is Sea of Stars, and there's another one, like a 16-bit style game. Feels like Mega Man. I can't think of the name right now, but only purchased 2 of those. So the PlayStation 4 has definitely been on the back burner for me, but I feel like now it is a good time for me to return to it gently, not going all in on PlayStation 4, but with some of the PlayStation 4 games that I want, I'm going to be leveraging any type of promotional sale or special deal to get those games in my collection, which means me just waiting for the 4 for 20s, the 4 for 40s, the buy two get ones, anything that I can get as a bulk deal. That's really the only way I'm going to be buying PlayStation 4 games, not paying full price, not even paying like full pre-owned prices. I have to be getting a deal on these, because I do still think that with the PS5 kind of emerging and really just becoming the main focal point now at this stage of the game, because even though the PlayStation 5 has been out for some time, I still felt like PS4 had most most people's attention when it comes to people who, play PlayStation. I felt like that's where a lot of the attention was. And it felt even more apparent when you went to game stores. There was definitely a much larger PlayStation 4 section than the PlayStation 5, but I see that tide shifting and PS5 seems to be taking over, which means that, hopefully we'll see more price drops in some of these PlayStation 4 games, even though we know that GameStop is no longer following the old school convention of pricing. It seems like they're just following price charting. So regardless of what generation the game is, if it seems like it's an expensive game, they're going to price it as such. And pretty much anything that's standard, they'll probably just give it some generic price of either 27 bucks or 20 bucks. And then the really cheap stuff, they'll just price it at $9.99. So I'm going to go over 5 games that I've picked up over the last couple of weeks on the PlayStation 4, which I felt like now was a good time for me to snag these. All of these I was able to get for an average of around $9.75 from GameStop. And these are all games that are right up my alley. These fit my style of play. I love on like the Gen 7 and newer, like Gen 8. Some of my favorite games on this generation are those open world, broad hack and slash adventure games with big, broad scenery and, big, broad, just open space. I'm a huge fan of those style of games. So we're going to talk about the first one, which is Shadow of the Colossus, which this isn't necessarily like a PlayStation 4 game. This really is a PlayStation 2 game, which they just brought to the PlayStation 4, upscaled a little bit of the graphics, but I'm a huge fan of this game. Love this game. If you've never heard of Shadow of the Colossus, you can play it on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4. I wouldn't be shocked if they did some type of remake and put it out on the PlayStation 5, but this is definitely one that I would recommend. Huge fan of this game. You have to like fight these like 7 demons, which take the form of these huge, monstrous, colossal, behemoth beasts, and you have to traverse through the different areas of the land to find them and then eventually slay them. The first one is on like a mountaintop. The second one, you have to climb to like this really high platform in the sky, and you have to fight that guy. And there's just different quick time actions that you have to take while fighting them to really like conquer them. It's just amazing to see this little dude with his sword, take on these giant beasts. And you have like this spirit that's guiding you. you know, in this temple that you go to. It's really big and broad and ominous. And this is like the ideal type of game for me. I love this style of game, and that's probably why I have it on every console that has ever came out on. So I recommend this one, Shadow of the Colossus, for sure. The next one here, this one, NieR Automata. So I haven't played this one yet. I have been playing NieR on the PlayStation 3, which that is a dope game. I'm sad that I didn't start playing that sooner, but NieR is really cool. Kind of like Shadow of the Colossus. You know, the main character, he's protecting like I think his daughter or his son. And you know, you have these different powers, like these different dark hand powers, along with obviously a sword. And like you're casting spells. That's NieR. That's not this game. I don't know if this game is anything like that, but if it plays anything like NieR, which it looks like it is, it does. This looks like another kind of like open world hack and slasher. This is another one I picked up on the PS4. I know there's like multiple renditions of this game. And I may wind up grabbing them all because I really do like this gameplay style. So this is another one that I picked up recently on the PS4. Really cool game to me. Another game that I've picked up, Sleeping Dogs. I think I showed this on the channel not too long ago, but I'm a sucker for like 3D, not just only 3D open world hack and slashers, but like 3D open world beat 'em ups. I'm a huge fan of beat 'em ups as well. And this one is kind of like a beat 'em up, shoot 'em up style. Kind of plays like GTA, but a pretty cool game as well. And I just really maximized that 4 for 40. I was only picking up games that were like 20 bucks to get the 50% off. So really good time to stock up on PS4 stuff. And so that's why I snagged this one. This is the definitive edition. I do have this on the PlayStation 3 because I just found that version for like $6. So this is a cool one as well. Here's another game that's very reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus. Also reminds me of another game that came out on PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 called Eco. These games are like very, it's just like I said, very broad, kind of ominous games where you're just kind of like in a very dark, you know, somewhat dystopian world where you're, you know, just encountering strange beasts and magical entities and just, you know, you're just traversing like, you know, broad terrain with huge chasms and large caves and cloudy skies. I'm big into that type of stuff. So Last Guardian is definitely another one that fits that mold. This game is really interesting. Like when you first start playing it, there's like no health bar, there's no health meter, there's no nothing. And I think Horizon, either Zero Dawn or Forbidden West is kind of like that too. But this one is another cool one. I've had this in the collection before and have sold it. I'm glad that I was able to get it back. I'm glad I didn't have to pay an arm and a leg at that. This was $9.50. So another cool one to get. Recommend it for sure. Last Guardian. These are all games that you can play and enjoy by yourself. You know, I'm typically a solo gamer. I don't like join with friends online and do like a lot of online play. And at this stage of life, you know, as a dad, I'm not doing a whole lot of couch co-op because my kids aren't really old enough to play games with me yet. So this is another cool one that I would definitely recommend. Last Guardian, really cool one. I picked that one up. And then the last one that I got here is Mad Max on the PS4. This is another one that I had and I sold when I sold off a bunch of my PS4 stuff. Again, $9.50. I think $9.50 is a good price for all of these games. $10 for all of these games is a really good deal. If you can find them for cheaper, $5. If you can find it for $1, if you can get it for free, right? Nothing beats free. But I think just considering that, you know, you won't typically run into these games for free, I feel like $10 is a decent price to pay. This is another kind of open world driving game, like driving shooter game. A lot of terrain on this one. Kind of follows the whole Mad Max theme, and I think it kind of follows the last Mad Max with what's that dude's name? He played Bane in Batman. Ed Hardy, right? I think this one, is that his name, Ed Hardy? Let me know down in the comments if I got that right, but I think this one follows that film. So a pretty cool game. Really good graphics, man. Really good graphics, and that's kind of what I expect out of like the PS4, like PS3, PS4. I didn't really play like, maybe PS2 somewhat because the graphics, there was a huge, graphical leap between the PS1 and the PS2. So playing like these like open world games is more digestible on from like PS2 on. PS3 they really nail it, they get it right, and then it's just golden from there. But like I try not to play those open world games on the PlayStation 1 because the graphics were just not there. Unless it was like a cell shaded game, like a Looney Tunes or something like that, or like a more cartoony game. But the PlayStation just didn't do a really good job of trying to recreate these lifelike landscapes. So I think PS4 is great for that. And so that's why I picked up a bunch of these PS4 games. So not saying that I'm going to start building a huge PlayStation 4 collection or anything, but I do think that whenever these promotions happen, now is a good time to do it. Also, I'm considering getting a PlayStation 5 sometime around Christmas. I think I'm finally going to take the leap because I think the library is where I want it to be to start to get into that console. So we'll see. If I do that, the only thing that would stop me from doing that is if Nintendo's newest system is just like, wow, blows me away and I have to get that. So we'll see. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to pick up any new consoles right now, but I do think now is a good time to look at some of these PlayStation 4 games. Let me know what you think about these down in the comments. It's the Y2K Collector. Hopefully you're having a great week. Happy hump day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.